G'day everyone, Big Bodsta here. In this video we're going to be going through my settings for BattleBit Remastered. This is not a pro setting guide, this is just a basic improvement personally on my settings for gameplay and HUD elements and so on, just to have a better gameplay experience. Before we get into it, just as a reference, I do have 238 hours in playtesting before early access, as well as I've only got 42 hours under my belt at the moment in early access. So all up, we've got about 280 hours of game time, which is pretty decent, and these are the settings that I've used. So we'll start off with the gameplay options. So I've got show dot crosshair, which is fine when you sprint and stuff, it just shows your center dot in the screen, which is good. Show friendly pings, which is also handy. Leave all these ons. Hit markers are good. I've pretty much left all of these same. I haven't really messed around with hit markers or anything. I think it's fine. My eyes are easily detect normal hit markers being white, armor hit markers being blue, and then you've got the kill hit markers being red. So we might actually try headshot hit marker being orange. Oh, we'll mess around with this. But normally I've had it on white, just as default hit marker, but we'll see how it goes. I haven't messed around with the size or anything like that. Up next we've got user interface. Show level progression, leaving that on. Squad list is a new feature, which I think that was one of the main things I was missing from when I started playing the game. I didn't know what was going on with my squad, so I really like this integration. One of the main things, I can't remember what this is set on normally, but I do have it set to sort by score. So this will say the best players and the leading score players at the very top, and it will just be one big list. Now, if you find that your game is lagging every time you check the scoreboard, I do recommend changing it by groups, by squads. Then it's not loading every single individual player, it will just load the squads first, and then you click on them as a tab and as a little drop down, and then it shouldn't lag your game as much. But I just leave it sort by score. I mainly check it at the end of the game and not really during, or I do when I die, so I don't really get affected by the lag. Now, this is probably the thing that I really wanted to change the most. So you've got your friendly color size. I've changed this to 0.5 for the friendly icon size. This is every teammate, so instead of your whole screen being blocked by all these big blue dots and indicators, I've changed it to half the size. Very, very rarely do I start shooting at teammates because I don't see the friendly icon. And now on the other part of that, I've left my Steam friend color, my party mem color, friendly squad color all set to 1. This makes your friends and squad mates stand out that little bit more, having their icons half the size bigger than just the rest of your team, which I really like. Enemy, I just left that as pure red. Friendly name tag size, I can't remember if I've adjusted this. I think that's a decent size though. The ally objective, enemy objective, neutral, I've just left as the same basic, blue, red and white. I think they're pretty standard. Show FPS, that's personal preference. I don't have it on just because of recording footage wise. I don't like seeing my FPS in the corner. Show network status, I've also got turned off, just cluttery. I know a lot of people really care about the FPS, but I'm on a higher end machine, so humble brag. Yes, humble brag. Personal preference for those two. Ping size, personal preference. Now, this is one of my other main ones, which I took a little bit of adjusting, which is your flag size. So this is your capture points and how much overlay they have in your gameplay. I'm pretty sure the opacity is set to 100%, and I think they're a bit bigger, as well as non-target flag opacity. So essentially, I can't remember what these are default, but I've reduced the size and I'm pretty sure I reduced the opacity, so then it's not blocking your vision. I remember when the objective was, 200 meters, 300 meters in front of me, and then a guy shot me from straight ahead and I didn't see him because the flag was over his head. So this one's a really good one to adjust. Once again, my personal preference for it. You might find something that works better for you, but I found this one not to be intrusive of your gameplay. Pretty sure same with the border opacity. Crosshair size just got 100 and opacity 75. You don't want anything fully blocking your vision, and crosshair color just white. Once again, these are just basic settings. These aren't pro settings or anything. Show Keybindings, I do recommend having this on early. It will help you out, but after you've been playing for a while, maybe turn it off. As well as it helps in vehicles mainly as well. If you're new to vehicle gameplay, this one will help you out. I might actually turn this one on. I think this is for when you're running towards teammates, you can ping them to say that you're on the way. I didn't realize that I had this disabled, so I might actually enable that, try that out. Next we've got chat, just leave on, all chat sure. Personal preference if you don't want to talk to the enemy or you don't care. I've turned my chat size way down so it's pretty small, as well as the opacity. I've changed it to, I have to focus on the chat to be able to really see it, so then it's not disrupting my gameplay. I'm not constantly seeing little updates in my top left, so this is a good size and a good opacity for me where I don't really see it unless I try and focus on it. Try and mess around with these two settings as well. Toggle map, it's essentially pressing M, pull up your map, and then you can hit it again and close it, so yeah, not too bad. Map grain, all this, same. Helicopter HUD, ooh, I didn't realize you could change the HUD for these. Ooh, I might actually change this and do a sneaky video and see how many people notice and be like, oh, why is his HUD blue? You heard it here first. We'll try and do that. That's cool though, I didn't realize you could do that. I've just got mine all on basic. So that was the gameplay. We'll go on to the controls. What do we have? Directional climbing, ticked, toggle lean, no. Toggle aim, no. These are personal preference. Toggle dragging. I do have dragging as toggled. I might actually mess around with this one. I know I have stuffed up my key inputs trying to move and drag and everything at the same time, so I might mess around with that one. Toggle sprint, I don't mind holding to sprint, but up to you. Reload style, I think this is the basic one where if you hold you drop, one tap will just normal reload. I don't think I've messed around with these at all. Once again, the pros will give you the goodies on what to do here. Mouse sensitivity, we play on 85 vertical and horizontal. I think my mouse is 1250, which I know is pretty high. That's why I've got the sensitivity a little bit lower. Aim down sight sensitivity, I've also reduced this so then you have more precise aim when you're at ADS, which will help you out a fair bit. As well as you can see, I've reduced the horizontal sensitivity a little bit more than the vertical. Having the vertical up a bit higher will give you better control of your recoil. So if you are having trouble pulling your mouse down, maybe increase this bar a little bit, as well as then you can change your sensitivity for your long range scopes as well, which is really neat. That's pretty much the controls. Key bindings. Now for the key bindings, I'm actually going to do a separate video on this because it's a fair bit to cover and I haven't changed pretty much anything. You'll probably see all these joy, negative, positive button. That's my settings for my controller. If you're interested in the controller buttons, which I thought would be a good setup, might include that in the next video if you guys like it. The only one I'll tell you about now is probably because you don't know is hide UI isn't assigned to anything. I've just put that as my backslash. This is if you want to record or get any cool shots with no HUD, you have to bind this to something and then you can get really cool cinematic looking shots. But we'll go over key bindings in another video. In video settings, I play at 4K, exclusive full screen, screen scale 125 with vertical sync. Brightness we've just got set to 100. FOV or field of view is set to 100 as well. I messed around playing at 90, max at 120, and then found a sweet spot that I liked at 100. Vehicle FOV also set at 90. I might actually bump that up to 100 as well and give that a go. Screen shake we've got set to 0 just because that's visual clutter that can screw you up, so I've just got that set to 0. Graphics, these will all be on ultra preset. Then we've got image effects, brightness and coloring we've got ticked. Motion blur, Pengy actually told me to turn this on and I nearly threw up, and I don't even get motion sick from motion blur. That's how strong the motion blur was. I'm like, no, I can't do it. Contrast intensity, leave it 100. I haven't really messed around with these other two. Once again, these are pretty much just trying to keep it to basic ass settings. I know a few people have said that they struggle to see enemies in the game. Maybe I do some deep diving into some of these settings and see if we can get anywhere where enemies really do stand out. So if you're keen for that, let me know in the comments. Audio, I think I've just turned my master down just for my headset volume. Opt into voice chat if you want to get on the memes. Death microphone, I think is a bit much. I don't want to have a PewDiePie on the bridge scenario. I normally speak when I die anyway, so I just have that turned off. VoIP I've just left all at 100, and audio channels just leave it stereo. I haven't actually tested the audio channels between surround and stereo. There might be a difference. But once again, basic settings. Most people don't have surround sound headsets anyway, so stereo. And then account, you have streamer mode enabled, and then you can hide server names, friends names, voice chat, and so on. So that's pretty much it for my settings. I will be going in depth on every key binding and making that its own separate video, and just have a massive list, so then if you are not sure on how to do something, then you can just quickly go to the timeline and find exactly what you need, because that will be its own separate video. Now these are basic ass bitch settings, so if you guys recommend something, please let me know. That's changed, but once again, I really haven't changed much except for some HUD elements. This will just be a short one, guys, as I will be editing a much more in-depth guide on the weapon stats and doing a comparison with that one, so make sure you subscribe and stick around for that one. As well as a massive thank you to everyone that has subscribed. We have just blown past our 2,000 subscriber goal, our 3,000 and 4,000 subscriber marks in just a couple of weeks. Was that actually crazy? So thank you guys so much. We'll leave it here just to keep the video quick. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Big Bodsta!